Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to start in a few seconds. We're just waiting for everyone to stream into the room. So let's just give it a couple more seconds. Okay, great. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the Canadian Immigrant Virtual Fair presented by Achieve and Seneca College. I'm your host for this session, Ramya Ramanathan. I'm the editor of Canadian Immigrant. I hope you've all been enjoying the magazine and the website. And I hope you are enjoying the fair today so far. I hope you're having a great time and making the connections you need to make. So we're thrilled to start our speaker sessions off today with a really exciting topic that's very relevant, Canadian work experience for Canadian jobs. So as newcomers, we face many obstacles trying to get the jobs that we're qualified for and experienced in. And one of the points of frequent frustration that newcomer professionals face is not having Canadian experience to get the job. In many cases, foreign earned qualifications and experiences are discounted by employers. You know, we've all faced that, honestly. So we're thrilled to welcome Chidi Iwuchukwu to be with us today. So thank you, Chidi, for joining us. He will be sharing his experiences and learnings as well as tips about how to break the jam lock and launch your dream career. Chidi is a best-selling author of Coming to Canada, the ultimate success guide for newcomers and travelers, an award-winning banker with 17 years of experience and currently a manager with Mirka Care Services. So Chidi, we're thrilled to have you join us here today. So, you know, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. Okay, let's start.
Are you trying to get your presentation on?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see it?
All right. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining. In the next couple of minutes, I'll be sharing with you some of my experience in trying to resolve this challenge I faced, and many people still do, about Canadian newcomers who can't get jobs because they don't have Canadian experience. So, there we go. So the first, of course, to introduce this topic is that many people come to Canada qualified by the government already because of your education and your experience. You come in thinking that since the government has already approved you, everything will be great. And then you come into the country and you realize that the employers have a different standard sometimes from what government is giving. And so your experience, your education is discounted by the employers of labor. So this is just one of the obstacles that we face in the job search. So what I would like you to do, because I would like this to be very interactive, is if you have faced some other frustrations in your job search, I would really like to see them in the chat so that we could learn and add more value to you. So what other frustrations have you faced in your job search in Canada? If you could just chat them up. But for this one, I'm going to focus a little bit more on how to tackle the issue of not having Canadian experience for your Canadian job search. It's endemic, it's widespread, and is affecting the mental health of foreign trained professionals because you come in with a high hope, you come in with a lot of years of experience on your belt, and then it's not a funny experience when people tell you that all that experience or that education is not relevant with all that it entails in terms of you going into the profession where you have been before. Many people I know have had issues with their mental health. Many have abandoned their careers just because they couldn't figure this out. So I believe it's a very important topic to speak with. But in all of this, I would like to say upfront that saying that you don't have Canadian experience and therefore they won't give you a Canadian job is a small screen. It simply means that the panelists or the people haven't find you, don't feel comfortable, or don't find you a fit for the organization. Because there are so many other times that also the same organization, they have a recognizer. So don't beat yourself up a little more. It's just what it is. So this is what I'll be covering. I'll be talking a bit about the realities of job search in Canada. Obviously, how to help you navigate this the challenge, some interview tips, and in all of these, I will put all that have worked for me and for those that I know. And most of these things I have already shared in my book, so the details are in the book, but I will go ahead and give you very, very quick information that will be relevant for your job search. The key takeaway from this presentation this morning, obviously, is that 75% of the jobs in Canada are in the hidden job market. Now, what that means is that what you're just seeing posted on boards, like Indeed, et cetera, just 25%. The rest are hidden. They are not obvious to everybody. And that is where I believe that you should be targeting. Rather than focusing your attention on the 25%, you should be targeting the 75% because that is where the main thing exists. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the reality of the Canadian job market. I'm sure that you know this more than I do, but you had great expectations about the job situation in Canada when you were coming in. So I call it the great expectation. We all came in from different parts of the world, well-trained, well-read, and we come in here thinking that we'll just land and seamlessly transit to the jobs that we are doing back home. But obviously, we are having this conversation today because there is more to that expectation than the reality that we have found ourselves. So what that also means is that Canada is awash with world-class talents, world-class professionals from all over the world. So the demand for jobs and the supply of jobs, there's a mismatch. So it's something that we need to recognize and know that you need to bring your A game to the job search. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to kill yourself or do anything extraordinary, but it's just for you to understand the reality that you are facing. The other reality, obviously, is that there are bias in the workplace, implicit and explicit. There are so many things that you are fighting against. They are fighting you. Some of them are hidden. Some of them are not visible, but they are real, in your job search. So it's important to understand this. And like I stated here, jobsearch.com has identified 9 of such unconscious biases in the workplace. What is interesting is that they didn't put the Canadian experience, So if you add Canadian experience to this list, you will be having the 10th type. So not having Canadian experience is a big, big challenge for so many people, and that we have noticed. Well, so I have spoken about the wrong part, the stressful part of the reality of the Canadian job market. On the positive side, I need you to understand that Canadians will love to help. Canadians love to help. I had experienced it when I came in here. I met a gentleman at the Beyond Food program at the Edmonton Food Bank. And after discussing with him about my background, where I'm coming from, he says to me, okay, what do you want? I said, I want to get into the job, into the employment as quickly as possible. I've got people to feed, 5 people who think they're still on holiday. Anyways, so he asked me if I was willing to meet up with somebody who can give me advice about how to get back into finance at that particular time, because I was a banker. And I said, yeah, sure. And so he connected me to a gentleman who every Tuesday will come up prepared with a list of things that I'm going to do for the week. It was an amazing experience. And, you know, for a newcomer, this was something else. This guy comes to me at the appointed time. Every Tuesday, we have coffee, which he paid for, and then we'll discuss my job search. So Canadians are willing to help. You know, the Canadians are warm, Canadians are vibrant, but there's also something to it. Canadians will not help you except you ask for help. So you need to learn how to ask for support. You need to learn how to ask for help. You need to throw up your hand and say, here I am, I need support in this way, I need support in this way. Do you know anybody who can help me? Do you know anybody who can assist me do X, Y, Z? Now, I need to say this, that you are enough. The idea that you need to do so much in terms of the job search is not a judgment on your part. You've been to school, you've been experienced, you've been educated, you have surmounted so many things to get to this point. So you don't actually need to prove that you are resilient, but hey, this is where we are. Okay, so we need to do what we have to do to put food on the table, to get back to work, and to be fulfilled, to do the things that we love to do. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the hidden gems of the Canadian job market. Ladies and gentlemen, this far I've demonstrated that Canada is awash with world-class talents. I've demonstrated that what you hear or what you knew about Canada when you are coming in terms of the job market is different from what we see here. I've demonstrated also, I've shown also that there are some points of pain and frustrations for foreign trained professionals. So now I'm going to be talking about the hidden gems of the Canadian job market, the pearls. And the first one is volunteering. Now, volunteering, as you all know, is giving your time, your effort, and your energy, your talent to a cause, sometimes, and particularly for not-for-profits. This is one thing I will encourage everybody who had come into Canada to do. Volunteer, you can't go wrong with volunteering. So when you go for volunteering opportunities, it gives you the opportunity to practice all the things that you need to practice, you need to do in course of the work. So you still have to apply, you still have to be tested, you still have to be interviewed, and you still need to show up, right? So volunteering gives you that opportunity. Now, like I studied in my book, volunteering is one thing that is important in Canada because that's what had built up most of the communities and places that we live in Canada. And so because these organizations are not fully funded, they rely on people coming in to support them. And so when you go there, you will get a lot in terms of return on your time. And some of the things you're going to get will be meeting people, so opportunity to network. You will get advice about work. You will possibly find the hidden jobs that have not been as it were advertised in the organization where you're volunteering, if there are opportunities like that. And then you will get Canadian references. And those Canadian references are absolutely important. I will give you also an example. This is what we did when we came in. We went to the food bank to volunteer. And in volunteering at the food bank, because I'm coming back from the background of finance, I decided to go to the client services section. In client service section, we were taking calls, opening accounts for people, etc., etc. What that did for me was that it helped me with my accent at the time. And I remember clearly when I started taking those calls from people who were calling in for food, most Canadians did not hear what I was saying. They would ask me, they say, speak English. And I'm like, but I'm speaking English. But I showed up, kept going there, kept going up, keep taking those calls. And then over a period of time, I realized that there were the complaints about not hearing what I was saying was getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. If I had stayed in my house without volunteering, it probably wouldn't be that way. The other part of it is that there are names that sit on your resume in terms of volunteering that will open doors for you. So because I volunteered at the food bank, I was able to get work at the city of Edmonton. So many people in Canada appreciate the fact that you've given your time, which is what you have the most when you are volunteering. And because of that, they also give you access to work based on the fact that you have worked in the not-for-profit and you have volunteered your time. The other part of this hidden market to unlock the hidden market is to use temporary agencies. Now, obviously, these are people who supply workers to companies who know where there are openings, but they are for short-term basis. So maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year. What it does for you is it gives you the experience that you require, that you can put on your resume and say, I've worked for so. For example, when I worked for the city of Edmonton was not actually my employer. It was Randstad, one of the temp agencies in town, that was my employer, so to speak. But the experience I had was the experience at the city of Edmonton. So in doing my resume, I can then spin it that I had worked in the city of Edmonton. Yeah, technically I've worked for the city of Edmonton, even though they were not my employer. And I worked there for 3 months. Again, working with the city of Edmonton, and having that on your resume also gives you other opportunities as you go forward in your job search. Mentorship is where you find somebody who has your interest at heart, who can walk you through, talk you through some of the job search process. It's an amazing thing for you to have somebody who can talk to you and calm your frustrations and tell you, okay, maybe you need to do this, you need to do this, like that gentleman did for me. It was an amazing experience, and that's one of the reasons why I'm also doing all this I'm doing, just to give back, because somebody showed me that how important it is to look back when you are moving forward. Okay, so find somebody who believes in you, who understands you, who can speak with you, who can create time for you, to engage you in the job search, to know where you are at, and to help you prepare for all the milestones that you're going to meet on that way. Obviously, sponsorship is absolutely important. Sponsorship is a little bit different from mentorship. It speaks to when you have found a job, for example, or even sometimes your mentor, somebody can mentor you and then become your sponsor. But it speaks more when you are inside the job and you now want to step up. You now want to get into where you belong to. Somebody has to be in that room to speak for you. Somebody needs to talk for you. Somebody needs to present your case. One of the myths of career advancement that we have seen around the world is that everywhere is 100% driven by merit. That's not true. And I've been hurt by not understanding this, that somebody, no matter how good your figures are, your performances are, no matter how great you are at work, if nobody is speaking for you in the room where decisions are being made, you will not get ahead. Unfortunately, that's the reality. Unfortunately, that's the reality. So you need to find somebody who can speak to you. And even now, I've learned that lesson. And I approached somebody in my office. And I didn't go say, will you be my sponsor? Will you be my mentor? No, I said, I love this organization. I know that you guys are doing a great job here. I've been here for this number of times, and I want to stay here for a very long period and build up my career. Please, could you let me know what will be required of me to be a success in this company? And the lady said, okay. And I took my pen and paper, made notes as she was talking, made notes and everything. And then I went back to all the things she asked me to do: go get a certificate in disability studies, do this, make sure you step up to support your team, etc., etc. I did all of those, and as I was doing all of that, I was also touching base with her for her to know this is what I'm doing. And then when the opportunity came for somebody to be selected as a manager, guess who it was given? Because I had demonstrated that I can do the job and I have somebody in the room speaking for me. Obviously, I could have gotten faster, but with her, I went at the very good space. Networking is, you can't just not network when you're searching for a job, because everybody you meet can give you the opportunity to a job. You need to network, you need to talk to people, you need to show up, you need to move up, you need to ask people questions, you need to use social media, LinkedIn, you need to research, you need to come to affairs like this and speak up, you need to network with people. There's no shortcut about it. Okay, so I thought I could also share a little bit about some of the things to do in the interview panel that I hear sometimes when I speak with people on both sides of the table, employers and job seekers. One of them is that when you come into the interview panel, smile. You know, it's important to put this in context. Some of us come from hierarchical societies where things are very formal and people are very serious when it comes to the idea of jobs of interview. But there's only one culture now, and that culture you are living in is the Canadian culture. So one of the things you also need to do is to understand how to drop off some of those starch, all those formalities when you are coming, where you're coming from, and get into building a rapport, being flexible, and communicating well with the people that you are looking for, that are interviewing you. Then also speak to the elephant in the room. One of the elephants in the room will probably be your race. Depending on where you're coming from, it will probably be your accent. It will probably be that you don't have Canadian experience. Speak up, when you speak to the elephant in the room, you take out the energy on that particular matter. And then you can then go on to talk about the real things about your presentation, or about why you are there, which is the skills, the competencies, the problems you solve, how you can help the company move ahead. So don't be afraid to speak up and say, hey, as you guys know, I just came from Saudi Arabia or whatever it is, from Ghana. I haven't had that length of time in Canada, but this is what I have done in my working career. It speaks to the fact that you know, you are confident, you know what you are looking for. Again, think like an employer. How do you think like an employer? Every employer wants to hire somebody who will come in and help them maintain the company culture. So if you come in and you become disruptive, then it will be a big disservice to them. Nobody wants to be involved in hiring a previously unidentified recruitment error. So you need to think like the employer. How do I demonstrate to this person that I'm a fit for their company? How do I demonstrate to this person that I am not going to disrupt what they have done, even when I'm bringing some skills and some diversity to the room? How do I make sure that this person is comfortable enough to give me the opportunity? You know, the last thing I have here is, well, even when you have done all of this, sometimes what worked at one point may not work another place. You may have demonstrated all of these, might have smiled, have been flexible, not demanding things, and you have promoted your competencies, and you still will not get the job. You need to take the lessons, adjust, and move to the next interview panel. Now, these are some of the things I believe that are important for you in your search for your Canadian job. You need to be strategic. Here, I speak to being very intentional about what you're doing, okay? Being very intentional. So every single thing you are doing will point you towards the job that you want or the job that you need. So first is the job that you need. So you need to put food on the table. So when you come into Canada, you need to put food on the table, you need to pay your bills, etc., etc. That's the job that you need while you are waiting for the job that you want. Sometimes there might be a short gap between the two. So everything that you are doing right now should be very strategic to make sure that it's either you're getting the job that you need or the job that you want. So when I say volunteer, it's for you to go to the place, do volunteering for a couple of weeks or months so that it sits on your resume, and then you can use that to apply for jobs. It's not for you to spend all your time in a place where you're not being paid. Volunteering is good, but what is more important also is for you to pay your bills, you know. And that also brings me to you, the idea of you watching your mindset. One of the things I tell people when they ask me how is it like in Canada, I said Canada is a long-term project. It's not a next day project. So here, including the job search, you look at it like if you take it like a 100-meter dash, you'll probably be disappointed. You probably will take it a little bit more. You know, some days will be great, some days may not. Sometimes you might have to start small. Sometimes you might have to start with something that you would not have done, but that's the reality that we find ourselves. But in all of that, your mental health is very important. If you begin to sit back and say, oh my gosh, I have left my job where it was very prestigious for me to come here and I started all over again. I've gone back 9 years or 5 years in my career because of this move. Over time, you see yourself getting sad, you see yourself getting worried, and all of that is not what you need at this particular, no, you don't need any of those at this particular time. You need to be positive, you need to be proactive, you need to go out there to fight because that's what it takes, you know. Job search equals full-time work. So if you decide or determine that you are going to do 9 to 5 and then do the rest of other things down the line so that you can get a life while you are searching for a job, you need to take it as seriously as possible, just like you're finding a job. But then everything about you is not just the job. You need to look at the sounds and sights of the city. You need to enjoy the weather. You need to get healthy. You need to work out. You need to do everything that you were doing before, you know, while you're searching for the job. But block out that time frame, a piece of time, and focus all your energies and all your time on it. And after that, go get a life. You see that you come back again refreshed, you know. Act now and think long term. I mentioned this in passing. Sometimes you will need to go down, do what you have to do, and then wait for opportunities, prepare for the opportunities, get the certifications, do what you have to do for the job that you want. That's the reality. It's not fair, but hey, life itself is not fair, okay? And then show up. Whatever it is that happens, you must show up. If 100% of the shots you do not take, you've missed. Well, there's no way I can finish this presentation without talking about hockey, which is Canadian favorite game. And so when Gretzky said his dad told him that there's no 100% of the shots you didn't take, you will miss. So you need to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee, the way Muhammad Ali will describe it. You know, so show up, keep showing up, keep doing the things that you need to do, and before you know it, you will be in a position to advise others tomorrow. Thank you very much. Rabbi, you're mute.
Thank you, Chidi. Thank you, Chidi. So that was a great presentation, lots of inspiration there. I was inspired. I hope everyone else in this presentation was as well. So we're gonna get to the questions. We have a few that have come in. And the first one is about volunteering. Where can I find opportunities to volunteer?
And that's a great question. Volunteering opportunities exist everywhere you are. So if you were to Google volunteering opportunity near me, you will see thousands. There's no city that doesn't have food bank, Habitat for Humanities, all of them. There's so many of them, okay? Employabilities, all kinds of association, as long as there are not-for-profit, there will be opportunities for you to volunteer, because not-for-profits don't have enough money to run their activities. And so they need people coming in and supporting them with their time, energy, and talent.
Great. And, there were a lot of people that were trying to figure out what to do during the pandemic. And we ran an article about virtual volunteering. So some of those opportunities could still be available. So, I'm going to find the link and paste it in the chat box, but you can also find opportunities to volunteer virtually. We're all going virtual after COVID. So let's see. What response do you have? Sorry, I don't really understand this question. So let me just go to the next question. 1 second. So I've been working on qualifications in some night classes to help me get into my dream career, and did some volunteer work in the field before the pandemic, but I didn't get the contact details for the organization I worked with to use as references. Oh, is it too late to go back to them after 2.5 years and ask them to be my references for the experience? So, they've volunteered before the pandemic and they want to go back and get references. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. All you need to do, if you were a good staff, if you showed up, you managed your time well, you worked according to the instructions, all you need to do is go back there and say, hey, can I get references from you? Can you please serve as my reference? And that's what I did. I asked the person, is it okay to use as my referee? And the person said yes. Now, if they said no, it's been a long time, okay, not a problem. Can I come back and volunteer for 2-3 times? And then you see that I'm still the same old person. But I know for sure that if you use humor and say, but I'm still the same person that I'm still the person that showed up at work. I'm still the person that managed my time well, that did the tasks that you gave to me well. I'm sure that, yeah, of course, they will be able to help you give you references.
Okay, great. And the next question is for you. What response do you have for the question, tell me about yourself? So how would you answer that question? Tips.
Okay, so every time you sit on the interview panel, people want to know, who is Chidi? Who is the person that we're seeing? What is it about you that is not on the paper? So tell me about yourself means talk to me about things that are interesting that are not on your resume. I've read your resume, I've read your cover letters, I've read everything your email. Talk to me about the things that are not on the paper. This is the time for you to sell yourself, to show the skills you bring, to speak to how you fit to the job description. So when somebody says, tell me about yourself, of course, you start with an introduction, start with your education, your experience, go directly and speak to how you are a fit for the job that you're applying for, okay? And then after that, talk to them about life outside of work. So what are your hobbies, for example? And if you want, and again, you have to be strategic. You need to choose the hobbies for that particular moment for something that is relevant to the job that you're applying for. So if the job is in sales and you say, my hobby is to watch television, to be inside the house, watch television, it probably won't be great. But if you say your hobby is to volunteer in the community, to work with the community league, to help out your neighbors, it means that you're actually authentic, right? In a sense that what they're looking for is what you are bringing, food.
Great, that's a very comprehensive answer. Thank you for that. So, I just did a story for this issue of the magazine. It'll be online next week about continuing education. So a lot of people who get this, a question about Canadian experience, etc., they actually sign up to a continuing education program. It can be 16 weeks, it can be a year. And what happens is they tell you the story of, I just interviewed somebody from Seneca, actually. And she told me that she was in a financial services program. She started in May. at the end of May, there was, a meet the employers kind of an event. And she actually ended up talking to RBC. She got a position. So by the time she finished her 16-week, program, she actually came out with a job. Took a while to start because of COVID, but there are great ways. I think you just need to put your innovation hat on and you follow all the advice that Chidi has shared with you. So, we're going to have to wrap this up now because we'd like all of you to go back into the fair. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Chidi, for, sharing your experiences, speaking from the heart. And this has been very insightful. And thank you to our sponsors, Achieve and Seneca College, and all of our exhibitors. Chidi, we had a question about your contact. Are you sharing your contact today, or how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we are going to share the landing page to my book. So my contact is there. Well, you could also write to me at Chidi at transit2, the letter 2, Canada.com. Chidi,
so okay, Chidi at transit2.com. Okay.
Transit2Canada.com, yeah.
Okay. So yes, please rejoin the fair, and hopefully you can chat with our exhibitors, and we're here to help you, and they will speak to you as well. So the fair is open until 4 p.m. EST. So enjoy. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay. Thank you for being here. Bye.